Do you think I like it, having you remanded? No.
I admit it.
No. I want you out. I want you working. I want you doing something productive, and I want to get this trial done and then move this case forward.
I agree with you 100%. Yeah, let me know what you think.
All rise. The Second Judicial District Court, stand about is now in session. The Honorable Barry Breslow presiding.
Thank you, Deputy. Good morning, everybody. Please be seated. Welcome to Department 8 Criminal Justice Calendar. I'm Judge Breslow. Ms. Stege, Mr. Handte, good morning. Good morning, Ms. Stubbs. Please call our first matter.
State versus Stewart Handte, case number CR 191535B. Matter set for hearing regarding pretrial release. Counsel in the division to state your appearance.
Ms. Stege.
Thank you.
Please stand your writing on behalf of the division.
Thank you. Welcome.
Morning, Your Honor, in Silverberg, alternate public defender's office on behalf of Mr. Handte.
Thank you. Good morning to you both. All right, this is a Johnston hearing. The court learned that Mr. Handte had, according to pretrial services, violated a condition of his pretrial release, namely leaving Washoe County without permission, not once but twice. I'm not sure if there were other times that he left the county that were not brought to the court's attention, but in any event, the request from the division was to set a hearing. They indicated by attachments the dates and times he had gone, the second of which appeared to be roughly 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. And we all know the general saying that nothing good really happens after midnight normally, but assuming factually that's all true, the court at times sets it for a hearing and decides whether to take somebody into custody, but the court, I believe, has discretion to take somebody into custody and then have the hearing. I've done that before, and that's what we're doing here. So what's the position, please, of the defense? I know that for the court to maintain assuming factually this is true, I know the court needs to find under Johnston that keeping him in custody is the least restrictive means to preserve public safety and ensure he'll appear at court. The court also needs to find, by clear and convincing evidence, that a breach of his pretrial release has occurred. I happen to pull out the clear and convincing evidence instruction just to remind myself what that means, and clear and convincing evidence, at least in the civil jury instruction manual, is that there's a firm belief or conviction that the allegations sought to be established are true. It's an intermediate standard of proof between preponderance of the evidence, simple more than standard, breach of contract, and beyond a reasonable doubt for criminal justice convictions. So that's some background. It's the state's burden, but I'd like to hear from the defense first. Did this happen? Why did it happen? If you're prepared to explain that.
We're ready for all of it.
Pardon me?
We're ready to go.
All right, let's go.
Thank you, Your Honor. So I'm not contesting the violation. Mr. Handte went to Carson City and didn't think about it, that he was right there at the border to gas up because, as we all know, it's about 40, 50 cents cheaper in Carson City.
True.
He did that, and the other time he got a call from a friend of his that was in some distress, and being the type of person that Mr. Handte is, he went to help his friend. At no point, I think this is extreme, a couple of things that are very important here, Your Honor. One, as soon as Your Honor revoked his pretrial release, Mr. Handte made arrangements, turned himself in the next day. He let me know right away that he'd be turning himself at noon the next day, and it's exactly what he did. The violation was not the sort that maybe got him into trouble last time, which is things that he would say in violation of the court's
Potentially
order.
taint the jury pool, right?
Right, and nor was he any place that he shouldn't be, where other people, law enforcement, or anything else that relates to the court's orders.
Well, we didn't know that, and it sure didn't look good to be gone from 2 a.m. to 4 a.m.
No, that's what he did, and there's been no indication.
So what are you proposing then the court to?
So, Your Honor,
let him, release him from custody and change his pretrial release to say he's on house arrest pending trial, that he needs to be home by 8 p.m., remind him that he can't go to leave the county without permission, things like that?
I don't think house arrest is necessary. He served a significant sanction. He's been in for 7 days. He may have lost his job. And I know that he's very contrite about what he did here. And I think that with an admonishment and the time that he's already served would be sufficient, given the nature of the violation. Had he been, had it been something based on things he was saying to taint the jury pool or things that were happening to, of course he doesn't acknowledge in any way that he's intimidated anybody, but court had that concern, and that's not the
All right,
context
so
of
if I
this
put him under
violation.
oath and he said, Judge, I just went in the middle of the night down to Carson because I had a friend in need. It's not nefarious, it's not underhanded, it's not jeopardizing a fair trial in this case, it's not putting the community at risk. You think he'll truthfully answer those questions and I'll be convinced that I shouldn't be worried?
Please do.
Okay. Anything else before I hear from the
No,
members?
no, thank you.
All right, Mr. Handte, would you raise your hand and take the oath of witness? Do you swear or affirm that the answers you give the court to my questions are truthful?
Yes, Judge.
Thank you. So I'm not going to go through the whole thing again, but you heard what your attorney said, you heard the court's concerns. Did you go down to Carson City to help a friend of yours?
I did, and yes, it was early in the morning. However, I've known this gentleman for many years. Actually, I've known his family since I was the sheriff of Mineral County. He's homeless. He's been evicted from his apartment. He's living in his car. He was despondent. And I went down to talk him off the ledge. And I believe I was successful because I haven't heard anything more. He's very skitterish about talking to anybody. And I just thought that was part of my composition. And to go down and help a friend, that's all I did.
So he's somebody you trust, or that trusts you, right?
I trust him.
That's what I meant to say.
Yeah.
He's somebody that trusts you, looks to you for advice, guidance, counseling, things like that.
Not every day, but on occasion,
Sure.
yes.
And this was a time of need.
Yes.
All right.
Sometime.
If I go along with it, I have to hear from Mr. Stege, and he has a different view sometimes of the courts or the defense. But if I say, okay, you learned, can you please stop digging yourself? We've all seen the movies, the TV shows where somebody's in jail, they get a shovel, they dig themselves out and they run away. You keep digging yourself in, you're on the outside, and you think I like it, having you remanded? No,
I admit it.
no. I want you out, I want you working, I want you doing something productive, and I want to get this trial done and then move this case forward.
I agree with you 100%.
All right, so, hang on, Mr. Stege, what do you think?
Mr. Handte, what address were you at for your friend?
Well, you're asking the court to ask him that question?
Ask him that question and ask him where he was on the
I think it was answered already, so his friend was homeless and living in an automobile.
It was in south end of Carson City.
Does that, so educate the court on the
Okay.
specific concerns other than it happened, it was at night, and the facts are a little concerning.
And it sounds like it's being whitewashed here. So one address that he's at for the second absence, if you will, 124 Sonoma. That's a Motel 6. The previous address for the first absconding is on Janelle Drive, which is both apartments and a bar, and nothing about a gas station. So the state's concern, of course, is we already had to do one warrant where the defendant was in active flight from the state, with the state intentions to leave the state. This seems rather sort of abrupt and, middle of the night, very concerning, and that the one address is located near a bar. And I'm not saying he went to a bar. I'm suggesting the court might want to know if he is going down to Carson City to go to bars. So I would ask overall, I think he ought to be reinstated. I think house arrest should be an option for pretrial services that they can invoke depending on sort of how the defendant is performing overall. House arrest option and reinstatement, I think, is appropriate.
Okay, is pretrial services here this morning?
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh,
Lori Payne
good morning.
on behalf of
All right.
Pretrial Services.
All right, thank you. Anything else to add that you think would inform the court on a decision here?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. The court finds that you did violate your pretrial release conditions. However, you're reinstated. You're reinstated with this one asterisk, two asterisks. One, please don't do this again. I don't want to see you in my court until we have a set hearing, pretrial, a trial. I don't want you to be in custody. Second, I'm not ordering house arrest, but it's a good idea what Mr. Stege suggested. So here's the deal. I do authorize the pretrial services to impose it without further court order. If you have minor stumbles, not enough to ask the court to have a hearing, not enough to ask the court to revoke your pretrial release, but if you're doing things that give them serious concern, they can impose at their discretion, house arrest as an additional condition of your release. What does house arrest look like? Here's the DNA of it. Number one, you can only go to and from work. 2, to and from church, if that's important to you. 3, to and from medical. 4, to and from court. 5, to and from your attorney. And 6, anything else they approve, buy food for yourself, and anything else that they approve. But you're not on house arrest now. So just please be more careful. It's good to be a good friend to somebody. I get it. He trusts you, and he was, sounds like in some kind of a crisis, and you wanted to do the right thing. On the other hand, you're living in a bit of a bubble right now. So let's just keep that in mind and govern ourselves accordingly. Now, before you leave, motion to dismiss, state recently responded. Please reply, submit it. I'll either decide it or I'll set a hearing and we'll have argument, okay?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank
I am
you.
just important, I am on vacation this week. I came back to this hearing, and I will do my reply and submission as soon as I'm back.
Okay, the court starts next week, so you don't have to set any speed records because I will not look at it until after the court's back.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Have a good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Handte.
Thank you.